Welcome to the stream, everybody. This is the live stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International, and we are live on YouTube and Twitch as well as JeremyInternational.com. Welcome to the stream, everyone. I see that Jugsy's here as always. Jugsy's like the biggest fan of the show. It's so nice to jump into the stream and see old Jugs waiting for us. We are, did I say that already? We're live on Twitch. We're live on YouTube. The description of the show might still say, I keep forgetting to change it, that we're live on Facebook. We don't do Facebook anymore. Facebook's a desolate waste zone. And they changed the rules, so it's a lot harder to stream there live than it used to be. So we just don't do Facebook no more, which is fine. Because nobody was watching there anyways. If you would, what do we normally say? If you'd like to seek advice from the community this evening, please head on over to JeremyInternational.com. There's a contact form you can use to submit questions anonymously. I get them live as you submit them, and we'll just go ahead and read them right here and now live on the show. I do have like 2 questions that I've stolen from other places on the internet, borrowed from other places on the internet. In case no one has any pressing conundrums. You know, if no one has any pressing conundrums, I feel like that's a win overall. Because, you know, if you need advice, if you need support, if you need to reach out to someone like your old pal here, Jeremy International, for support, maybe that means that you're struggling with something. So if no one's got any questions, I guess nobody's struggling, which is great news for the universe, I say. But thanks for joining us, everyone. We are going to be joined here in just a minute by my friend and yours, the Oldmin himself. We'll be back live on camera, on audio, on microphone, on the internet this evening. And hey, Amir's here. Hey, Amir. So we got the regulators dripping in here. I've decided that I'm calling Jugsy and Amir the regulators now. So we've got a couple Sega Genesis games on hand that we'll try out. As always, I have Jeopardy. Jeopardy is always fun to play. I feel like we're going to probably get some Jeopardy in this evening. And then another game that's been floating around my collection for a while that I've been meaning to check out and I haven't is a pinball game called Dragon's Revenge that looks like it's just like a metal AF pinball game on the Sega Genesis. So we'll probably try that out a little bit. Also, this evening's episode of the Advice Stream is unofficially brought to you by Mott's Fruit Snacks. If you're in the market for fruit snacks, you should buy Mott's. It's a horrible name for a company, but they're mighty fine fruit snacks. I'm going to eat one right now. I've also got some, I think this is the last of the Woodruff Reserve I got for my birthday a couple weeks ago. Our ice machine is out, so it's got some whiskey stones in it. And I prefer ice, to be honest, but here's to the Advice Stream. This is a lot of whiskey, I know. It's the end of the bottle. There is some water in there, so it's not all whiskey. But you got to finish the bottle. That's pretty good. That's pretty good whiskey, Woodruff Reserve. I prefer Basil Haynes myself. Thanks, Samir. It was quite a while ago, my birthday. But thank you. I appreciate it. Birthdays are important. We should all celebrate birthdays. Let's go ahead and, excuse me, I'm talking and eating at the same time. Let's go ahead and bring ye old men in. If I can remember how to do that. Hang on just a second. If you're ready, Oldmin, here we go. Hey, Oldmin, how's it going?
It's going all right. Got a new PC that I'm streaming from today.
Nice.
So that's been fun to set up.
Did you build it yourself, or is it a pre-constructor?
No, it was pre-made. I don't bother with any of that. I mean, I have in the past like bought a graphics card and then realized that the case that my computer was in was just a little bit too small. Tried to wedge it in and destroyed the graphics card. So I don't bother with any of that nonsense. No.
That can be tricky. My the one Windows computer we have in the house is a gaming PC I built, and it is a lot of work. I will say, if anyone out there is thinking about building a PC themselves, you should go to, what is that website called? PC Part Picker. make sure that everything's compatible with everything else you're going to buy. Otherwise,
this is a repeated problem for me, though. Like this week, I had to get new tires, and I got the wrong size, and now I have to return them. I don't know
oh
why.
man,
I'm just bad at this.
yeah, I wouldn't know what to do if I don't know anything about tires. We actually need to get new tires for our car, but I'll just have to take it to the place and tell the guy, figure it out, please. Here's all my money, because I don't know anything about anything. Jugsy says that he's a big nerd. So if anyone has any PC building problems, just send you a message over to your pal and mine, the Jugsmeister, as I like to call Jugsy.
As we always call him.
I'm always calling Jugsy that. That's the only way I refer to Jugsy these days, is the whatever I just said, Jugmeister. Yeah. What else? I don't I don't have a lot going on. I had a big, not getting into too much detail, but kind of had a big milestone for medical stuff on Friday, which is pretty exciting. Probably something we're celebrating a little bit. So I'll have another sip of my way too much whiskey in this glass for that. And do you want to start with the question, Oldman?
Yeah, let's get back in the groove of things.
Let's get
that
back
sounds
in.
Good to me.
Sometimes you got to ease yourself, and here's a short one. I do have, of the two questions I have borrowed from other places on the internet tonight, I have another one that I have been waiting for Oldman to join the show again to read. We'll get to that one in a little bit. We'll kind of build up the anticipation for that. But here's another one, and I will go ahead and just add in before I read this one that this is a question that is very clearly being written by a gay man. I identify as generally straight, mostly hetero. Sometimes I say barely bi. So I just want to get that out in the open, that I hope, I'm more than happy to have a conversation if anyone wants to, if they think it's inappropriate for me to delve into this question. But ultimately, this is a question about interperson connections, and I think general sexuality, and I think I feel confident in my ability to speak to that as the person that I am. So let's read it. But if anyone thinks this is inappropriate for me to do, I'm more than happy to be called in, I guess, as people say, for that. Okay, here we go. Lately, I've been having sex from Grindr, Scruff, et al. With 5 to 10 new partners each week. Sometimes it's a repeat, but most of the time it's a stranger. I live in a major city, so there's plenty of supply. I'm in a different neighborhood for a meeting or an appointment or even a drink with a friend. I open the app and actively look for someone. I take work breaks to get laid. I worry this is becoming compulsive. But the truth is, I enjoy the sex and I don't think I'm hurting myself. I'm on PrEP and get tested regularly. I'm dating someone, so this isn't an issue of loneliness or a cry for affection. Still, is my behavior out of control? How do I know? I have thoughts on this, Oldman. I don't know if you want me to talk for a little bit while you're thinking about this. It's probably the first time you heard this question.
Sure, go for it.
This sounds at least kind of adjacent to compulsive to me. But ultimately, what compulsive means is that you want to stop and you can't. So the advice I would give this person first off is, just as a little experiment, try to take a break for a week or 2 weeks. If you find that you can't, if you find that you're coming up with excuses why, well, under these specific circumstances, I can go ahead and proceed with this type of behavior. If you find yourself having a really hard time stopping this even for a short period of time, like a week or 2, then that seems like that would be that might then you want to start thinking about this as a problematic behavior. If it's not interfering with your personal life, it says that you are dating someone. If it's cool with that person, if it's cool with you, if it's cool with the people you're sleeping with, you're taking break from work to get laid. Is it having a negative impact on your work? if there's no negative, uh, unavoidable consequences from this, then you're probably fine. Sex is one of those things that kind of, for a lot of people, has some compulsive nature to it. It's one of the most fundamental biological instincts a human being can have. So it is a thing I think that can slip into compulsive behavior pretty quickly. But the best way to find out if it's actually compulsive or not is to set an arbitrary time frame to take a break. And if you can't take the break, if it's really hard to take the break, or if you find yourself, butting up against the decision to take a break by looking for excuses to stop the break and to start the behavior up again, then you might want to pump your brakes and start to think about getting some outside support, I would say. Do you have thoughts on that one, Oldman?
Yeah, I feel like you covered most of the things that I was thinking myself. I agree. Like, trying to to determine whether something that you're worried about is a compulsion is can be difficult. And my frame of reference for that would be drinking. Obviously, I mean, I've had a lot of issues with that in my past. And also at the same time, I have realized that if I am doing okay with drinking, I don't need to really beat myself up just because I had a drink when I went out or something like
Yeah.
that. You go from complete abstinence to trying it out again to a situation where, oh, I drank too much and now I feel bad about it. But that doesn't mean that you are necessarily descending into something really dark and terrible unless there's some objective um, harm to you that you can identify. So this person is concerned about their behavior, and that should be probably the number one thing that is an indicator that there might be a problem. But that doesn't mean that they need to beat themselves up about it if, like you said, there's not any objective harm happening to them in their lives. As far as like doing this on work breaks, more power to them. That
Yeah.
sounds a lot more fun than taking an hour-long bathroom break to me. um,
I think there's a lot of people that are finding ways to take a longer and more relaxing work break than work usually permits them to do. And
yeah.
this seems like a better solution for that than most folks. The Oldman, that's a really good point. I mean, I think that some people are, their neurochemistry, they're biologically wired to have harder times with addictive or these types of behaviors that really kind of trigger like that deep down, like whatever it's called, like the lizard brain, like our most primitive part of ourselves that seeks pleasure, that seeks food, that seeks like immediate gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has that part of their brain. Some people has more resistance to that than others. So I mean, the another question this person should be asking themselves is, do they tend to have compulsive or addictive tendencies in other parts of their lives? Because that would also make something like this. Some people have to. The only way that they can handle that is to just 100% avoid zero alcohol, zero cigarettes, zero gambling, zero whatever forever, for every day for the rest of their lives. And other people can get to the point where like I can have a drink every once in a while, but I have to make sure that I consciously making a choice to just have one and then to remove myself from a place where there are more drinks. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody, there's no one size fits all that defines compulsion or addiction or how you get out of it for people. But the best litmus test for this is set an arbitrary, maybe even if the person you're dating is aware of and cool with all of this, they need to be if this is what you're doing. Maybe bring them in and have them help you be accountable for it. But set an arbitrary time frame to have a break. I would say not less than a week, 2 weeks maybe is better, where you take a break. You can sleep with the person you're dating, but just leave it at that. Don't open the apps. Don't sneak off and have a sex lunch break at work. Just keep it chill for whatever arbitrary time you decide. But once again, I feel like it should be more than a week, or a week at the least. And if you can get through that fine, then go back into the behavior and dive back in again. That sounds great. If you can't, then you got a problem. I think is the best way to determine that. And the same thing with people that think that they have a drinking problem. Go to a bar, go to a party, hang out with your friends, don't drink, just see what happens. Do that for a week or longer. And if you can't do it, then you have a problem. If you can do it, then that's the best news anyone could hope for, and then you can just jump right back into the party.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I say. But you know, I think the trick when it comes to things like this also is we have to make sure that if if you're concerned that this type of behavior is a problem, you need to make sure that that problem the problem is coming from within you and not like society's expectations about what type of sex or what types of circumstances someone is supposed to be having sex or someone is supposed to be drinking or someone is supposed to be doing whatever. If there's a difference between being concerned about compulsive behavior and having like society implemented shame, those are two different things. And the way that we can find out whether we should be concerned about compulsive behavior or whether we're concerned about some sort of societal expectation is really look at like, is there negative consequences? Is this affecting your work? Is it negatively affecting the people you're sleeping with or the person that you're dating? You're taking prep, you're getting tested regularly. So while you are certainly at a higher risk than someone that's monogamous, you're doing everything that's in your power, it seems like, to keep your risk zero. Remember, there's no such thing as safe sex, there's only safer sex. Keep all of that in mind too. But if there's no negative consequences to you or society or the people that are around you, um, that's also a good indicator to say that you probably don't have an addiction or a compulsion problem. But take a break, take a
Mm-hmm.
forced break, see how it goes. If you can't make the break, then you need some help. If you can, then enjoy the break while you have it, and then go for it, dude. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, I agree. It to me also it sounded like this is a very responsible person who's going about it in a very responsible way. There wasn't any indication in the letter that there were these objective negative things happening to him because of it.
Yeah,
But I also know that it's really, really easy for the concern itself to become a problem.
yeah,
And that's why taking a break is really, really important because that solves it. It tells you whether you have a problem, and also if you're able to take that break, then that's going to ameliorate the worries about do I have a compulsion? Am I doing something wrong? Is this an addiction? And so yeah, it's sort of it like kills two birds with one stone in that way.
Jugsy says Sex Lunch is a good band name. That's true.
Yes.
I feel like that's more of like a good album name. Like that sounds like a Spinal Tap album to me, Sex Lunch. And then uh, Jugsy says, "Congrats! I join you for a whiskey, but it's 10 a.m. and I'm working." Yeah, so that's a good way to know you don't have a compulsion problem there, Jugsy, is you're not drinking at 10 a.m. at work. And then also Jugsy says, "Barely by, boy, do I have a game for you. It's Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, I am familiar with Baldur's Gate 3. Jugsy. Actually, Fred Undead, who might not be joining us in the chat tonight, is my partner. And we played quite a bit of Baldur's Gate 3 when it first came out. And then, in the way that we got distracted by other games and life in general, we stopped. And I think we're going to pick it back up tomorrow. I also just desperately, desperately miss Dungeons and Dragons. I do not have enough Dungeons and Dragons in my life right now. And that game is as close to a real pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons session as I've ever experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
Until we have the time and the bandwidth to actually get a regular D&D group together again, which would be a really great stream.
That's what I was going to say. I
Yeah.
would love to join that. I've been thinking about looking for one in my area anyway, but it would be so much nicer if it was with like you and Freddie, people I know.
Yeah, that would be great. Oh, another thing it's been an idea I wanted to do for a live stream for so long is to get I want to get like sitcom scripts specifically like maybe Seinfeld episode scripts, and then do like a table reading of those, like a stage reading with like some of my uh, comedy friends, but then like switch up the roles. Like maybe like there's a woman playing George, or a
Hmm.
man that's Elaine or whatever. Just like make it weird and unexpected. I think that would be super fun, and that would be a
Yes,
really
it
good
would.
stream. As you know, there's a lot of logistics involved in that.
No, I
It's
like that
really
idea though.
not actually. I got all of the technology here, as long as everybody has a halfway decent microphone and a camera at their house.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
just
just the lassoing of the people, the getting people to show up
yeah.
and get
Everybody
all the
that I
tech
used
issues sorted out.
everybody that I used to perform with ain't got nothing going on right now. So I feel
Hmm.
like it's more likely these days that I could actually maybe pull that off. Stay tuned. Maybe we'll get something like
No, I
that
would love
together soon.
that.
Yeah, I think that would be, or like like someone that does like a Jerry Seinfeld impression, but have them do Kramer or something, but as like reading all of Kramer's lines, but in their Jerry impression. There's a lot of different weird, or whatever. Another TV show too. I think would be really fun. All right, Oldman. Should we do some Jeopardy?
I kind of want to see this other game first, to tell you the truth.
That's fair. Okay, hang on. There we go.
Pinball game, you said.
Yeah, it's called Dragon's Revenge. Can you see this artwork?
Oh, I love the bad artwork
Yeah.
for old fantasy stuff.
Also, I'm just the last couple weeks, the music I've been listening to, I've just been metal as fuck the last couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah, that's all I've been wanting to listen to. Is man, when Ronnie James Dio was singing for Black Sabbath, man, there's some hits. It's all perfect, all magical times. Dio Sabbath is the best Sabbath in my opinion.
Hmm.
That's not really true,
I
but
could
it's
never get
really
into
good.
metal. Like, I have friends who are really into metal. Kotu, he was in a hardcore band. I don't know if they're
Yeah,
still doing their thing, but I love my la ti da folksy ambient softy
I
stuff.
I respect that. My my algorithm is in my music streaming service of choice is so messed up because my just like a little background, like everybody
Hmm.
from the um coming that was becoming a teenager in the late 80s or early 90s. I was metal like when I was in high school and college. I got really into punk. I had a mohawk for a long time, and then from there I got really into new wave, and from new wave I got super into disco. So most of what I listen to now is disco music. But I got um I got my feet are always going to be in metal, and so like my playlist, like the music I've been listening to through Apple Music, is like I'll listen to like some early Metallica, and then I'll listen to like Donna Summer, and the other day I was listening to the soundtrack to Cats, because I'm I contain multitudes. I can do whatever I want, and
That's the best way to be.
but the algorithm does not appreciate that because it is so confused and can't seem to figure out anything for me to listen to. Um, but if you wanted to try, this is like good, like entry level, reasonably recent, like within the last 15 years of metal to get into, is The Sword is so good. The Sword
The sword.
sounds like
Okay,
early
I'll write it
Black
down.
Sabbath, like Ozzy Black Sabbath, but in a really good way. They have an album called The Swords of Winter that is just a perfect, whether you're into metal or not, is just a perfectly produced record from start to finish. Isn't that what it's called? The Swords of Winter? Hold on, I'm looking it up now. The Something of Winter is so good. And I'm a big, they just broke up. They had 4 or 5 albums maybe, and called it quits. And that this one particular album, it's The Something of Winter. What is it? Why can't I use my phone? Yeah, The Age of Winter, sorry, is so good. Jugsy
Yeah, I
says,
don't have anything against it. It's just there's a very select few of those kind of songs that I do like.
yeah. Well, you should check out that album by This Lord. Jugsy says, great instrumentals when you need to focus. Yeah, another type of music that's really good to have, just kind of like to keep your mood going and like to keep you focused and to kind of give you like a little bit of energy, but not so much that you have to like stand up and start dancing. Is like any like sludge metal band like Earth, for example. Earth is very often music I have in the background while I'm working. I'm a big fan. Earth has this album called The Bees Made Honey in the Lion's Skull, which is also a very good, very heavy, very slow, really good album to listen to if you're high. Yeah, that's another good one. Okay, so let's try out Dragon's Revenge, if it'll load. Uh-oh. Is it not working?
Oh no.
I know. I haven't
Blow,
played this.
take it out and blow on it.
Yeah, I know. Jugsy says, Earth, yes, didn't know this side. Jugsy's also saying also Boris. I saw Boris, Fred Undead and I saw Boris, I don't know, I guess it was before our kid was born, so God, it's been over 4 years now. And it was one of the best shows. Who opened? Was it Earth that opened for Boris? I think it was. And man, that was a great show. Boris is amazing. Big Boris fan. It's one of those times where like I was driving around just like having the station pick out the music I was going to listen to, and something, I think like a Sword song was just played, like the algorithm picked it for me, and I was like, man, why am I not listening to more metal these days? All right, well,
there we
maybe
go.
There's a problem with Dragon's Revenge. You shouldn't do this.
Oh, this
people.
is Jeopardy now.
Yeah, hold on. You shouldn't do this, everyone, but I'm just gonna... All right, let's try one more time, because I really want to play this now, too.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. I know you're not supposed to really blow on it, but that's what I did back then. And isn't this kind of a nostalgia thing in the first place? It is different if you're a collector, though. I can see that.
If it was good enough for Granddad, it's good enough for me. Yeah, I've seen... while we're talking about metal shows, this was also many years ago, like probably 15 years ago. I saw Dio and the Scorpions and Deep Purple in one big show. And Dio opened, of course, because he never was as big as he should have been. And he was amazing. It's still like one of, I don't know, that guy could have been in the three tenors. I mean, he has such an operatic, such a powerful voice. I think Dragon's Revenge is busted.
Dang it.
You buy enough old video games, this is going to happen sooner or later. You know what
true.
I realized the other day? I don't have Altered Beast for the Sega Genesis. And that's like one of like the standard Sega Genesis games. I got it for the Master System. I have it for the Famicom. Did you know that Altered Beast came out for the Nintendo Famicom?
I don't know Ultra Beast at all.
Altered Beast.
Altered Beast.
Yeah, before...
Maybe you did mention that before. Yeah.
Before Sonic, Altered Beast was the pack-in for the Sega Genesis. The Altered Beast was going to be like the killer app for the Sega. And it never was. And the Genesis never really competed against the Nintendo until Sonic came out, because Sonic was doing a million things that no Nintendo game could ever do before. It's hard to imagine now how much of like a technological breakthrough the first Sonic the Hedgehog was. But Altered Beast was gonna be like the Super Mario Brothers for the Sega Genesis. That never caught on. It's not a very good game, but it came out for the Sega Genesis, and then they retconned it. They de-evolved it for a simpler, less graphically complex game for the Master System, which was Sega's predecessor to the Genesis, and then also for the Famicom. Amir says, with SNES cartridges, I've heard you're supposed to sort of scratch it with a key when it doesn't work. I don't know, that doesn't damage the cartridge, but apparently it works. It's probably what I need to do. You can get a little bit of alcohol and a Q-tip and run it over the connections on this. I don't have anything like that handy. That'll probably get this working again.
Yeah.
It looks good. And I bought this from, I want to say, East Starland, and they're very, like, I trust them. If it's not working, it almost certainly worked when I bought it, and it's just been sitting on the shelf for like a year or whatever. So I'll clean it up a little bit, and I'm sure it'll work. Let's do a game of Jeopardy, and then we'll take a break.
Sounds good.
And do another question, and then if we want to keep playing after that, then I'll just boo down to my basement and grab another Sega Genesis game we can play. I'd actually say that of all of like the major consoles, I probably have the least number of games for the Genesis. I don't have a lot of Sega games compared to like the number of like Nintendo games or Xbox games that I have. Maybe I can grab Altered Beast for the Master System, because I'm running this off of my analog Mega SG. I'm having a hard time getting my controller to pair. And that'll play Master System games too.
Cool.
But I gotta hinker in for some Jeopardy, so let's do some Jeopardy.
Back to the music discussion. I may have already asked you this, but did you get tickets to HF Festival?
No, I don't. I can't do that stuff anymore.
Okay,
like
fair.
my health is better than it's been in a while now after the new medication that I'm on as of Friday. But that's not something that's in my. I can go see a show for a night, but a whole day thing like that outside, I can't do it.
I don't think I'm going to be there for the whole day. I've never been to such like a big music event, and the lineup is ridiculous for Washington D.C. especially.
I saw it at all. Who's going to be there?
I have it here. It's The Postal Service, Death Cab for Cutie, Incubus, Bush, Garbage, Jimmy World, Girl Talk, Violent Femmes, Tonic, Filter, and Lit. Which is an insane lineup.
That's an insane lineup. I would say that the only act you listed that I would really want to go, that I'm considering maybe going for, is Girl Talk. Never seen Girl Talk live before.
Violent Femmes is a big part of my growing up, so I know they're like old and decrepit, but I'm looking forward to that one more.
Speaking of old and decrepit, I've seen the Violent Femmes live like 20 times, and they're
oh,
amazing.
Good for you.
They're amazing live. You should go see them before
good to know.
They, and by an extension myself, die from old age. I always wanted to see Girl Talk live. That is a solid lineup. The first like real concert I ever saw was Garbage opening for the Smashing Pumpkins for the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness tour. They were both amazing. I remember like every detail from that show still. I was probably like 14 when I went. My sister took me.
But you know what? Jugsy says, "Whoa, that's a show and a half," and that's true. And like, definitely, when I saw the lineup, and I knew that one of our Jeremy and my mutual friends was going to be going, that was a big reason. But more than any of the bands, more than any of the music, I think what I am most interested in is how the Washington D.C. crowd is going to respond at a big stadium to all of these early '90s acts.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard even for me to imagine it. So that's something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. Do you know who Girl Talk is? You know what he does?
I know Girl Talk, and I know that I've heard them, but none of the songs are coming to mind right now.
Because Girl Talk doesn't have songs. Like, Girl Talk just like does live like mashups. Like, they're a DJ that take like two totally incongruous songs and mix them up together like live.
Oh, I love that.
and is super super fun. I I forgot we played this a lot, but not recently, and I forgot this guy looks like Matt Sharp from the Rentals, so I'm gonna call
That's
him
what
out.
you say every time.
Yeah, I know, so I'm gonna do it again. If Matt, if you're out there watching, big fan of your work. I mean, Weezer's first albums are great, but Return of the Rentals is still extra special to me. Press C when complete. Got it. Press your buzz-in button to continue. Jody, Harold. Man, all these people look so dumb. Okay, what categories do we have? Parks, fashion, books and authors, the desert, actors and roles, weather. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm gonna do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go with actors and roles. Let's ease ourselves in here, Alex. Okay, let's go into, or Ken or whatever, actors and roles for a hundo. Karen Valentine, Sandra G, Sally Field,
this girl. What?
It's Gidget.
Gidget?
Gidget. Yes.
Gidget.
You don't know about Gidget?
I do not know about Gidget. Gizmo from Gremlins.
Gidget. How do I say that I'm done again? You are correct. Gidget was like a franchise of like a movies about like a young woman in like California that was like modern and free, like in the 60s, and lots of different women played her. I think it was Sally Field's first role was Gidget.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
And this was a person with dwarfism?
Nope, just a slight young woman of small stature, but otherwise, yeah. Cary Grant played the Mock Turtle in this 1933 fantasy classic. The Mock Turtle is from Jabberwocky. God, do I have to spell Jabberwocky?
I can help you if you need me.
Yeah, please. Jabber, I got.
Jabberw.
Oh, it's two B's?
Yes, it is.
ER. I
Jabber. And then WOCKY.
Oh? I thought it was an A.
Walkie.
Walkie, not walkie. WOK what?
CKY.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Why are words EY?
I think it's just Y.
Why?
Yeah, it's definitely just Y.
Oh.
I might have got that wrong. I was so confident that I knew it too.
I could have gotten it wrong.
You know, I do appreciate that. This is like, I never got to do a spelling bee as a kid, but this is fulfilling that for me.
This is your chance, Oldmin. This is your chance to spell
right
under pressure. The Mock Turtle is from Jabberwocky.
Right? I mean, I don't remember a Mock Turtle in that, but it's been a long time since I read that or heard it performed.
Mimsy Went the Bury Goes is what I remember from Jabberwocky.
Mm-hmm.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. Okay, so same author, different work.
Spell,
yeah.
Though. Let's keep going through actors. Let's roll it up. He was Lynn going to Paris and Mr. Smith going to Washington.
Jiminy Glick. No.
The guy from It's a Wonderful Life. Stewart.
Yeah,
Jimmy
I know.
Stewart.
I just saw that movie.
Jimmy Stewart.
Too.
Jimmy Stewart.
I was doing, I mentioned this before, but I was doing the AFI 100, and I had seen that before, but I only saw It's a Wonderful Life like for the first time like 3 or 4 years ago.
Did I spell that right? How did that go? Are you still doing it?
I'm sort of still doing it now and then. I watched The Godfather Parts 1 and 2 for the first time very recently, and that was cool.
Godfather Part 2 is one of those rare things in the universe that is as good as everyone says it is, in my opinion. That is a perfect movie. It is so good in so many different ways. All of the performances are amazing. It's the last time that Al Pacino acted good in anything.
Hmm.
And uh and Robert De Niro's in it, who's
Yep.
acted great in many movies since then, but also not in a long time. That movie's so perfect. What would you say out of the 100? What? Hold on, let's do another question, and then I want to ask you what. How
Okay.
many of those 100 movies do you think you've seen?
Oh,
Character played
I
by both
actually have a
Diana
list.
Ross and Judy Garland in separate movie musicals. That is Dorothy, because of The Wizard of Oz and The Wiz, which is also one of my
Hmm.
favorite movies slash soundtracks.
Both very good.
Dorothy Gale, if we want to, if you're nasty. Is there a Doro Dorothy?
Yeah, Doro
Thank you.
Thy.
Man,
As far as the AFI goes,
yeah.
I think it was about maybe a third to half I had already seen when I started.
Okay.
Um, and Sunset Boulevard, out of all of the ones that I saw, was my favorite that I had heard of but never seen before. I just loved that movie
I
so
haven't
much.
seen that movie as like an adult with like a developed brain. I think I saw it in high
Hmm.
school. I would like to watch that again.
I would highly recommend.
Let's do actors roles for 5 hundo. He played Waldo's Uncle Quincy in cartoons and James Dean's dad in Rebel Without a Clue's Waldo's Uncle Quincy. I'm not going to risk it on this one because I have no idea.
Hmm.
I've never seen Rebel Without a Cause.
I think I must have seen it a long time ago, but I don't remember anything about it. I'm sure it's on the AFI.
Yeah, probably it is. The desert. Types of these include Old Man, Hot Hedgehog, and Barrel. Dunes? No, cactuses. Cac.
Amir says, "You guys are really into old movies. That's because we're old, Amir. Have we
we're
not
not as
made this clear?"
we're not as old as any of the movies we've discussed just now, though. Oh wait, Jugsy has
True.
an advice question. Let's take a little break from this. I have an advice
Okay, yeah.
question! Exclamation point. I annoyed my boss by questioning his management tactics, and I think he's gearing up to write me up. I'm 9 months away from long service leave. Should I discuss my concerns with his style and my warning meeting, or just turtle up and stay quiet for my last months? My colleagues agreed with me regarding the issue, but won't speak up for fear of getting in trouble. Um, First off, I have no idea what long service leave is, Jugsy. If that's the Australian specific thing, you need to bring us into it.
Hmm.
I'll answer that question pretty just from an instinctive place. If your manager isn't creating an environment where anyone feels comfortable criticizing them, then you shouldn't be criticizing them. If a manager is the type of person that wants to grow and develop and be a better manager and also grow and develop their team, then you know that because they create that kind of environment because they say those things. But if they haven't created that type of environment, then they don't want that type of conversation, and
Hmm.
you should not say anything. You should turtle up and let it go, and then as soon as you're able to, I would say, uh, find another job where there's more of a communication of feedback. Feedback, in a professional environment, I think is essential for everybody, and it's something that doesn't happen by accident. It needs to grow from the top down, and the very fact that you don't feel that you're even having this question, I don't know if I should do it or not, means you shouldn't, because your boss doesn't want to develop that kind of workplace, and they'd likely get defensive and shitty if you did. Long
Yeah,
service, after 7 years at a workplace, you get 3 months extra paid leave or equivalent money. That's nice.
that
We
is
don't have
nice.
that in America. Um, uh, but
This
yeah,
is
that's
this is kind of the wheelhouse, the workplace issues thing. I mean, that's my professional life is dealing with workplace issues.
yeah, yeah. What's your thoughts,
Um,
Oldman?
yeah, so I mean, my obvious initial question, and I think I probably already know the answer just by the nature of this advice question, is do you have a union? Because if you have a union, then there are channels to address this without necessarily coming face to face with somebody who sounds irrational. Trusting what Jugsy says, as always. It sounds like you have legitimate problems with the way that this person is exercising their authority. So if you have a union and this is really bugging you, you can talk to your union rep about it. And if it needs to be escalated through that way, you can do it. If you don't have a union, which it sounds like maybe is the case here, I think Jeremy's initial instinct of turtle up, keep your head down, and complain about it with your coworkers off the clock is probably the right way to go.
Yeah. Let it
and then maybe organize a union.
Let it build into an unsustainable, toxic workplace, because that is actually what your manager wants. If they haven't created an environment where you feel comfortable talking to them.
He does have a union. So yeah, Jugsy, I mean, I'm sure that you are aware that you have rights under the union, and that there are ways of talking about this with somebody who could help you address it by going through the union rather than trying to do this all on your own. So yeah, I mean, that's like really general, obvious maybe advice is to go to your union with this, but that is definitely what you should do.
You know,
get ahead of it.
I'm 45. I've been working since I was 16. I've never been in a union before.
I'm sorry. I mean, that's very common in this country,
yeah,
but I'm sorry.
I've had many, many jobs. Now, there are some places that I worked that didn't have options for unions in the past that have since either unionized or are moving in that direction, I hope. But yeah, I never once been a member of a union before. And I've never not had a job. I mean, I guess there were brief periods of time, like when I was sick, but I've never not had a job for more than, any real period of time since I was 16. Jugsy says, I'm always hesitant to contact them before issues reach a head, but you're absolutely right, Oldmin. Best to get ahead of it, probably. I think that's true. Mm-hmm. Also,
and it'll give you peace of mind to do that.
Yeah.
Jugsy, sorry.
That's amazing. I would love to be a member of a union someday. I mean, I guess more than that is I'd love to just not work and not have a job and not have to worry about any of those things. But that's not realistic. Yeah, I've never been a member of a union. But unions are so important, and while nothing in the universe is perfect, they're ultimately, I think, a source of good in the communities where they exist. Okay.
I have an interesting union anecdote from today, if you want to hear it.
Oh yeah, please. That is much more interesting than playing Jeopardy, especially because the next category that I was going to play is the desert.
The desert. We've all been fearing this. Everybody in the large place where I work has been fearing this, but management finally sent out the return to the office email today. Saying that we all have to stop doing what we've been doing for multiple years now and been doing our jobs just fine working from home, and start to come back much more often. And I didn't expect, first of all, the email they sent out was really confusing because it said this doesn't apply to you if you have a telework agreement, but also if your telework agreement doesn't agree with this, then you have to renegotiate it, which are contradiction. That's a contradiction. What am I supposed to do? Am I exempt or not? I already do have a telework contract. But then later in the day, like right as the people were getting off work, the union sent out a very fiery email saying, despite what management has said about this, and they made it sound like we were done with our negotiations. We are not done with our negotiations, and we have a contract. We have a contract. So that was really good to see. They have our backs.
Yeah. There's nothing that feels better in the world than someone that has power over you to come in and tell you something that you have to do that you don't want to do. And then someone whose job it is to defend you and stick up for you to swoop in and say, well, actually, no.
That was good to see.
Yeah, that's a
great. I mean, it's as fiery an email as you can send in a professional environment to be like, our position is that we still have a contract and they are wrong about this thing that they sent to every single worker,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of people. Like, that was really nice to see this today. But who knows what's actually going to happen?
Yeah. I having a work from home job. I mean, there's no office for me to go to. The organization, the company that I work for, doesn't have like an HQ or anything, so I'm always going to be. I sometimes, depending on the job, I have to go visit a client every once in a while. But overall, if I'm working outside my house, it's a handful of times over the course of a month, and that is so essential to my physical and mental health. I'm so fortunate that I get to have that.
Me too. I feel the same way about my work from home.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of which, let's do the desert for 200. This lowest point figured in Ronald Reagan's career.
So many to choose from.
I know. Death Valley, right? The lowest point on
Oh,
Earth
because
is the Dead Sea.
Yeah, it doesn't say lowest point on Earth. It could be lowest point in the U.S., I guess.
Which is Death
I
Valley.
think that's a good guess. That's a good guess.
I'm gonna say Death Valley.
Was that like in one of his movies or something?
I have no idea. That would be a fun thing to do, is to go back and watch some Ronald Reagan movies. Oh God, wait.
Oh yeah, I'd rather do something painful to myself that's not that.
I mean, fuck. Hold on. I can't type and talk at the same time, apparently. You are correct. Yeah. Let's spice it up a little bit. Let's start to hit some of the bigger numbers. Let's do books authors is one of those things that I feel like I'm more confident in my knowledge than I have a right to be. Let's try it out. Let's do books authors for 400. Readers checked into this hotel, New Hampshire. I'm not touching this one. No idea. Because I read a lot, and I feel like I know a lot about books, but they're all like science fiction or horror books, and if it's not that, then I don't know anything about it. So I go in I know a lot about books. I read a lot. I know a lot about books, and then if it's not a science fiction or a horror book, I don't know anything.
Most of my literature knowledge, apart from the handful of literature that I've read that's not sci-fi or fantasy in the past 10 years, comes from the Books Circle Jerk subreddit, which is all about making fun of people who have displays of books on their shelves like I do, which are mostly unread.
This Boston
it's very catty.
Franklin raised the family cows as America's oldest. I don't know.
Boston Common, right? Boston Common? It's gotta be.
That's it. Thank you.
I lived in Boston for a little while.
Did I know that? I'm sure that I knew that.
It was 8 months or 9 months. Yeah, it wasn't for a long time, and it was like that thing that I did after college that didn't work out. That was what it was. But I liked my time there. I had a good time for the most part.
Yeah, I've had some good times in Boston. I like Boston. It's a cool town. Thank you for giving me that answer. That was a good one. What else can we do? Let's keep spicing it up a little bit. Let's not go crazy, but let's do fashion. I wish that Fred Undead was here because she would know all about the fashion. Let's do fashion for 3. They can come in Norfolk smoking or pea varieties. Coats.
Coat. Absolutely.
I'd love to have a good pea coat, but it's got to be black for me. And I feel like most of the real the hardcore pea coats are always dark blue, but I would only want one.
I like dark gray ones. I have a really good dark gray one that the inside of it, whenever I try to put my arm in it, it goes under the thing in the sleeve instead of through the sleeve. So I look like an idiot when I'm putting it on. I got to get that fixed though, because I really like that coat.
I like in the wintertime, I like to have a big warm coat that has a high collar because I want to feel like I'm the shadow, and a pea coat. I have a decent pea coat, but it's like a dark, if you look at it closely, it's like plaid. And having a totally really nice black one. I had a really nice black pea coat I got from Target 20 years ago, and it fell apart a long time ago because it was from Target. Let's do fashion for 4. Term for the tuxedo's pleated sash. That's a cummerbund, but I don't know how to spell it.
Yeah.
Cumberbund.
Cum.
Well, I know how to spell that.
Burr.
2 M's, you
Bun.
think?
I mean, it's actually no, it's one.
B.
Yeah. It is kind of,
R.
it is spelled like it sounds.
And then is it bun?
Bund, yeah, Bund, like the German states.
Bund, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But it says it was used to protect trousers from crumbs, so shouldn't it have been a crumberbund?
Yes, it should have been a crumberbund. Thanks for helping me spell that, buddy. We're doing pretty good on fashion. Let's keep going. Let's go for 5 hundos. Why not? Oh, Jesus. Daily double.
On the 500
Fred
on
Undead's
the
here,
fashion.
and she spelled cumberbund incorrectly. But it was, thank you. Anyways, how
We
much
might
do
need help
wanna
on this one,
wager?
Fred.
Yeah, Fred, stay tuned for this. You got to be quick because there's a little bit of a delay. How much should we wager? I got 17. Let's do 700. Let's do 700. So I've been drinking this whiskey a little too fast. I need to slow down a little bit. Alice Marble astounded the Wimbledon crowd by appearing in them in the 30s. Slacks?
Jorts. No.
Jorts? I'm going to
No,
say
it's not
pants.
jorts. But tennis? Maybe it's a mini skirt.
Maybe.
I don't
Fred?
know. You can't. It's hard to play tennis in pants, isn't it? I would think so, anyway.
I don't think they would have let in the 30s. They wouldn't have let her wear a miniskirt. She would have been burned at the stake.
Well, it says astonished. So
Fred Undead
shorts.
says shorts.
Shorts.
Okay, shorts. I believe you. I trust you, Fred Undead. Fred
I
Undead.
was real close with my jorts guess.
Fred Undead studied fashion in school. For those,
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, good job, Fred Undead. Thanks, Fred. You did so good. All right, let's just finish up fashion while we got Fred here on the assist. Fred, I'm sorry, fashion Fred for 200. Hunter's hat sported by Sherlock Holmes. It's called a stalker cap. Don't ask me why I know that, because I don't know. But I've also went through a big Sherlock Holmes phase once upon a time. But it's called a stalker.
Fred is right about that last question because it called the item of clothing them. It had to be like a plural thing, like shorts.
Oh man, Fred is so. Oh, I got it wrong. Fred is so smart. Maybe I misspelled it. I know that Sherlock Holmes' hat is called a stalker cap.
I thought that was a fedora.
I didn't put the cap in. Or deer stalker? Is that? Oh, that I was close enough. God damn it, Alex.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Rest in peace. Baseball's first ever All-Star game was played in 1933 in this Chicago stadium. Wrigley, right? But like the
That's
chewing
gotta be
gum.
it.
So it's W.
I think so.
I Wrigley EY maybe?
Yeah, it's EY, I think. Not that I am familiar with sports in any way or fashion.
No. I don't know.
Is that even in Chicago? It must be. I mean, like that's.
Yeah, I think it is. There's no way this isn't correct.
No.
Yeah, okay. I've never heard of that place once in my entire life. Thanks, Fred and Dad, but I was wrong. Thanks for supporting me, though, in the spelling. I appreciate it. Al Pacino's first starring role dealt with panic in a New York City park nicknamed this.
I
don't know. I feel like I heard this recently because, yeah, I think it's Needle Park. Yeah. There was this halfway decent show on Paramount Plus about the making of the original Godfather movie called, I don't remember what it's called. Greek for fertile land, buildings are built around, but not on one of these watering spots. An oasis? Maybe? Yeah.
Hey. Fred, I thought Central Park too, but that's not a nickname, and also it is the most obvious answer for anything park related in New York, though, and that is, as we've said, a good strategy for this game.
So Paramount Plus had the show about the making of the original Godfather. It was called The Offer, and there's a lot of scenes where the producer and Francis Ford Coppola were fighting with the studio to cast Al Pacino in the Godfather movie, and they talked a lot about how he had been in Needle Park. I remember that's why as soon as they started type it out, I knew what it was. That's a pretty good show, though, if you have access to Paramount Plus. And we talked about The Godfather once already.
Yeah, I mean, I just watched it, so that's a good recommendation.
Yeah, you should. It's pretty good. It's got what's his name? Miles Teller is the lead in it. Artist famous for her paintings of deserts and the American Southwest.
What's her name?
The lady that painted all the vaginas.
Yeah. Well, what's her name?
Georgia
O'Keeffe.
O'Keeffe, thank you.
Yeah.
Is that with a K?
Yes.
I
think there's 2 E's, an F, and then another E. So Keefe, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, that looks right. You are correct. Yeah. The vaginas. She painted all the vaginas. Let's wrap up fashion for a hundo. Thanks, Fred. Roman wear that became party wear for the Greeks, a toga. This is a movie that has not aged well.
No, it hasn't. It's awful in a lot of ways.
Yes. Great music, though. You are correct. I'm so happy that Fred and Ed's helping out.
Me too.
Have don't as much as I used to, but I used to watch a lot of Jeopardy in the house, and it was always nice to have Fred chime in and help out from time to time. It felt like a family project. Let's get back to book authors for 100. Master of the Page Turner, who wrote Master of the Game and Rage of Angels. I've never heard of either of those books before my entire life. I don't know Fred and Ed why toga parties were a thing. I guess because like they associated them with Rome and like hedonistic and like over the top parties and like people having orgies and barfing and then eating more or whatever, I'm assuming.
Why are Great Gatsby parties a thing? For the same reason.
For the same reason. Master of the Game and Rage of Angels. Rage of Angels sounds like a Iron Maiden album. Sidney Sheldon. Oh, sorry. Let's finish up the desert for 5. Coldest, most northern desert in the world.
Arctic.
Does that count as a desert? A desert, I think,
yes.
is described by
it is a desert.
Rainfall. You're going to say
Correct.
The Arctic?
Arctic, yes.
Arctic. Okay. I'm trusting in you, Oldman. Because you are.
Yeah, it's a cold desert. That's a thing.
What? Written the Arctic.
What? Maybe it's because the Arctic is mostly an ocean, and so like if there's not land beneath it, even if it looks exactly the same as Antarctica, which is a cold desert,
the Gobi.
The
Gobi is that's still relatively far south,
but it's
a lot farther north than any of the other deserts I can think of. Interesting.
I want an appeals form.
People voice opinions on everything in London. Speaker's Corner in this park. Hyde. Hyde Park.
Yeah,
with the
Fred,
Y.
Greenland. That could be it too. I don't know. Sorry. I'm just a little upset. But yeah, Hyde Park.
Yeah. Have you ever been to London before? I've never been to London. I've been to other places in the UK, but no London.
As a kid, yes.
Parks for 5. In 1962, Freddie Cannon had a hit about this now defunct New Jersey amusement park. Someone got into that fast. No idea. Palisades Park. Never heard of it. You are correct. Never heard of the park or the song. Condition associated with London and pea soup fog. It's the second London question in like 30 seconds.
You are correct.
Let's stick with weather because book authors hasn't been working out for me. Mount Wailea in Hawaii gets the most, while Kalama, Chile, probably rain.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, but I didn't. They got in too fast for me. I was going too slow. I got stuck on trying to pronounce the Hawaiian mountain name. With parachutes and kisses, she overcame her fear of flying. I don't know. Thanks, Amir. Yes, it was rain, but I didn't get it. I wasn't quick enough.
Sorry.
Oh. Like, not only is this literature and we're not super familiar with sci-fi and non-sci-fi and
non-genre fiction.
Yeah, but also it's literature that was considered important when this game was released.
Yeah, which
might not be true
now. For the
now.
record, was in 1992.
Mm-hmm. So that's probably changed a bit.
Yeah. Jody, his wife said of his Ulysses, who wrote Ulysses? The guy that wrote
James Joyce.
Screw. Joyce.
James
Thank
Joyce.
you. James Joyce, yes. I'm just going to say Joyce. That should be good enough.
Mm-hmm. He was very funny.
I read most of Ulysses at some point in my life, but I don't think I finished it. I'd love to have a time like when I go back and read all of the books that I either started or never finished, or like those books that are important that everyone says you should know that are like cultural milestones. I'd love to go back and do that. I just don't have the time. You know, when I like retire, when I'm an old man, I'll do all of that, I'm sure. Wilkie Collins novel that's a real gem. No idea. I'm not going to try it for 500.
Yeah, I have the same idea in my head that I do want to add a little bit of intellectual stimulation to the fiction books I read.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing House of Leaves recently by Daniel Zhigan, Polish last name, which is a trip. And I like it, but it's also like a slog because, I mean, you have to pay super, super close attention to what's going on.
Yeah. The only time I really have time to sit down and focus, full-time, hold on. Sometimes called a cyclone, its winds can reach a hurricane. Hurricane's with 2 R's, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fred, it is super weird, but I love the books that make you turn to the back and turn back to the front, and like it's like a puzzle. That's what I've really been enjoying about it. Anathem by Neil Stevenson is another book that is sort of like that, but not nearly as intense in terms of switching between different parts of the book to understand what's going on.
I got that wrong, by the way. It's a tornado, not a hurricane.
But that's not what a cyclone is. That's wrong. A cyclone is a hurricane in a different part of the world.
Some hydrometers use the human hair to measure this humidity.
Nobody calls a tornado a cyclone.
I don't know. Humidity.
Oh, wait.
No,
IT.
Right.
Yeah.
HUMIT.
DITY.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that looks right.
You are correct.
No, Jugs, you didn't miss anything super exciting.
No,
except
we've just been
for
playing Jeopardy, Jugs. All right, last one for single Jeopardy, weather for 5. Region near the equator that took the wind out of Sinbad's sails. The
Doldrums.
The doldrums. Thank you. Yes. DUL.
OL. And then DOL and then drums.
Wait. DOL. Drums. Doldrums. Man, Oldman, you and I, like, our brains are all synced up today. This feels good. We're killing
We have
it
done
with
this several
Jeopardy.
times before,
We
but we
have,
are
I
killing it.
know.
I like that.
Yeah. This is fun. It's way better than playing heavy metal pinball on a Sega Genesis.
I mean, I would have
right.
liked to see that, but
Yeah. Well, when we're done with this round, while we're going through the next question, I'll see if I can get it to work.
okay.
Inventions.
I need to run upstairs because I can hear my dog, but I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Sure. I'm gonna get started though. These are really good categories. Fred Undead, stick around because there's more fashion. Inventions, insect trivia. Ooh, I know a lot about insects. Superstitions, the 1930s and Renaissance art. Let's do insect trivia for 200. That sounds fun. I love myself some bugs. A comedian might find one in his soup. A fly? Right? There's a lot of jokes about flies and soup, right? I know how to spell fly.
You are correct.
Yeah. Let's stick with the insect trivia. Why not? The police special weapons team is a SWAT team. Which stands, by the way, for, hold on, can I remember? Special Weapons and Tactics, maybe, is what SWAT stands for, probably, I'm guessing. That's what I'm going to say. Insects for 6. Completes the Ben Franklin phrase, here, scugs, lies, snugs. I have no idea. I've never heard this from Ben Franklin before. I'm assuming it's bug, but I don't know. What does that even mean? Here, scug, lies. Snug as a bug in a rug? Did Benjamin Franklin say that? That's such a dumb phrase. All right, good for you, Harold. I didn't know. Daily double. Let's see what you got, Harold.
Sorry.
Of Michelangelo, Leonardo, Da Vinci.
You know the correct response?
I didn't even get to finish reading.
I didn't either. You got it too fast. I'm wrong.
In October 1939, DuPont bought out stockings made of this artificial fiber nylon.
Mm-hmm.
Nylon.
You are correct.
I know I'm correct, Alex. We're doing pretty good here, Oldman. I gotta say, I'm sticking with insect trivia though, because I want to sweep that category. This beetle, named for an eastern country, was first spotted. It's a Chinese beetle, Japanese beetle, Chinese beetle. I know what they look like.
There's got to be more than one Chinese beetle.
Yeah, but it's probably a beetle that has nothing to do with China. That.
Sorry.
No. I was incorrect. It's Japanese. Well, it doesn't reflect well on me for not knowing the difference between the two. Oops.
It doesn't reflect well on the entire country. They kind of look like
they're made out of like bronze
Our
or
country.
copper. They say it's bad luck to put this shoe on first. I'm assuming it's left.
Yeah.
Hold on, there's a comment here that I'd like to get into and read also from Amir. Amir says, I recommend reading Don Quixote and paying attention to the satirical undertones. It's cleverly written in a way that is seemed. I've also never read Don Quixote, Amir, and that is also a book I'd like to read someday. Although
It's on my shelf.
I have seen The Man of La Mancha a couple of times. Let's finish insect trivia for 1,000. Balls of navel are protection against them. Moths. Those are mothballs.
Is Man of La Mancha the one that was made by the Monty Python guy? Or
no,
is that a different one?
He made a movie, or at least worked for a long time. I think he finally got made, called The Death of Don Quixote. The Man of La Mancha is a musical based on Don Quixote from the 80s. I think it's from the 80s. It was a really big hit for a very brief period of time, but it's got a lot of good songs. Let's do superstitions. Supposedly a bee can't do this while you're holding your breath. Sting you? That's not true.
They do detect carbon dioxide, so I always hold my breath when there's a wasp or a bee around me, but they could still sting you. They could, if you tried to, like, if you were holding your breath and bothering them, sure.
Yeah. Jugsy says, my colleague has been reading that for about 4 years. Ha ha ha. I'm assuming that's Don Quixote. Of that message that was sent with a huge delay. Superstitions. Let's keep going. Sticking a piece of this on the top of a baseball cap brings good luck to the team. Bubble gum?
That was my first instinct, but I have no idea why.
I'm gonna pick something random and be like a piece of the Quran. A piece of the Declaration of Independence. I'm not gonna guess.
A propeller. That's a good notion. Chewing gum.
Yeah, I was right.
Why did I feel that was right? That's weird.
Because that's what baseball players chew chewing gum. That's what they all do. Dark colored socks with this color toes protect you from being tripped by elves. No, I'm not gonna risk it for that one. I don't understand what any of that means. Elves go around tripping people? Sorry? What is it? I want to know.
I do still think we should try one of the more modern Jeopardy games sometime, just to see how the differences between this version and that version.
I have Jeopardy on the Wii, but I don't know how I would get my Wii to work here. And while we got a second, because it's my turn to pick, I still don't have a good solution for how to stream from the consoles as they are in my basement. I have an idea. I have to buy some stuff to get it to work. But once I get that to work, then we can stream. I'll just, instead of streaming from my office like I am right now, I'll just stream from my basement all the time. And because that way I can use, I've got 18 consoles connected to my TV down there at any time. And if I can figure out a way to make it easy to stream from them, then I can do whatever I want. That's
good to hear. That's good to hear. Because, I felt a little guilty about not scheduling our live show where we're going to be on the same camera. But if you're not even ready to do it...
I know I have a really good idea of what I need to do. The problem is that it's not like a lot of money, but it's going to cost a couple bucks. And I don't have a budget for that sort of thing right now. I'm working on it. And I might even have what I need here in a box somewhere. It's just going to take some time to figure it out. But if I can get it to the point where I can just really easily plug a console into my capture card, but have it go on the big TV, and then have it stream through my computer so that I can do this. It will be made in the shade. There's all kinds of cool stuff we'll be able to do that we haven't been able to do yet. It's
That
just a
sounds like a
matter
great
of
time.
making sure that I have on hand the hardware to do it. And I might have it around somewhere. I don't think I do. But, I never throw anything away. And anytime I'm in a place where I see technology that someone's about to throw away, I usually just grab it. So I might have something around. Let's finish up superstitions for 1,000, even though I've done terrible at this. A mouse roasted, minced, and eaten will cure a child of this childhood disease.
Health, having a healthy body.
Not having the plague. Don't eat mice, people. No idea. Like the measles, childhood disease, chickenpox.
Honestly, this is irresponsible information for Jeopardy to be putting out there in the first place.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Measles, I guess.
I should have guessed. The Mrs. Putnam who disappeared over the Pacific. That's Amelia Earhart. Earhart, was it? It wasn't AIR.
Oh, that's a hard one. No. Ear.
Of course it is.
And then HARDT, I think.
Oh my God. That looks right. Oh, wait, DT.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have been able to get that on my own. Yeah, thanks, Oldmin. Team.
I didn't know she was a Putnam.
Yeah, because she was married. I think not too long before she took off for that last flight, actually. Let's keep going with the 30s. What a great time. Man, in 6 years, it's going to be the 30s again.
I know.
Yeah, and the last time we had the 30s, it was not a good look. I'm at 57. Let's bet. Let's make it interesting, at least, because I'm so far ahead. Let's do 2 Gs. Let's do 2K. The British actress who won an Oscar for her role in 1939's Best Picture. 1939's Best Picture, a British actress.
No
I
idea.
should not have bet that much money. I don't even know. What could have won the Best Picture in 1939?
Something racist, probably.
Probably something. I'm gonna write that in. Something. It wasn't Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind wasn't 39.
No.
I feel like there was a time in my life when I would have been able to know this because I used to be really into film and to just like knowing bits of trivia, like what movies won the Academy Award. Now, no one gives a shit. But I don't know. No idea.
Know the correct response?
Vivian Lee.
Okay.
I kind of sort of know who that is. I'm still way ahead though. Let's keep going through the 30s, I guess. The Bandolier of Baker's broadcast. He married co-star Harriet Hilliard. No. The band leader of Baker.
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah. Ozzie Nelson. That makes sense. If I had had more time to think about it, I probably could have figured that out. Ozzie and Harriet. Known for his buxom nudes, this Flemish artist produced at least 1,200 paintings. I'm buzzing in for this because it is... Fred, do you know this one, Fred?
Just gonna Google buxom nudes here.
Yeah, good idea. I'm sure we'll get a very targeted solution that'll help us out. I know it. Once I hear it, I'll know it and I'll kick myself. I'll kick myself once I figure it out. Can I just skip? Can I just... Yeah.
Fine.
I'm still way ahead. We just have to...
I don't think we've actually lost once yet.
No, I've
playing
lost
Jeopardy
one.
together.
I was way ahead the whole time. I bet everything on Final Jeopardy. I got it wrong, probably because I misspelled it. I think that happened the last time we played on a stream.
Fine.
Like one of the features I hope
Rubens.
One of the
Totally
features that
not.
I hope that the Wii version of Jeopardy has is like real wrong answers, not just XXX.
I know.
China.
It's Rubens because you ever hear a person described as being Rubenesque?
I have heard that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's like a classy way of saying someone's thick.
You are correct.
I'm going to use that.
She's
Maybe not.
Rubenesque as a bowl of molasses. I want to finish the 1930s. Why not? On March 3rd, 1931, this president made the Star Spangled Banner our national anthem. 31 would have been Hoover?
Yeah, I think that's Hoover.
Yeah.
Fine.
Hell of a job, Hoover.
Hell of a job.
Yeah. Don't worry about the Great Depression or the rise of fascism in Europe. You're doing great.
You are correct.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Except historians. Let's do Renaissance art for 600. Italians were masters of this medium of painting on fresh plaster. Fresco.
Mm-hmm. Better not get that one wrong.
With an E?
Yep.
Fresco.
You are correct.
Let's finish it up. Though German famed portrait artist Hans Holbein became court painter to this English king. I'm not confident enough to say. It's too late in the game for me to make big risks. Probably Henry VIII or Elizabeth I.
Yeah, probably.
It's the Renaissance.
You are correct.
Yeah, Henry VIII. Fred Undead says fresco means fresh. Born in Urbino in 1483, this painter learned much of his craft from Michelangelo and Leonardo. I feel like it's another one of the Ninja Turtles.
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be Raphael, right?
Or Donatello? Was he a painter?
They were all
all
of the Ninja Turtles were painters.
They were all artists. I know that.
I
think it's PH. At least as far as the Ninja Turtles are concerned. But that's a very weak connection.
Spelling. right? Raphael.
A-E-L, I think. But I also, again, this is all Ninja Turtles.
I'm not going to hold it against you.
Speculation.
I'm sure that the Ninja Turtles spell it the correct way. Yeah, we got it. I knew it was a Ninja Turtle.
No, Freddy's got the right spelling because she knows the real spelling.
Because that's not how the Ninja Turtles spell it. While we got Fred Undead Americans, while we got Fred Undead engaged, let's get some World of Fashion down. So get your buzzer ready, Fred. The hat in the Mexican hat dance is a sombrero. How do you spell sombrero?
S-O-M.
Sombrero. Nope.
R-E-R-O.
What did you say? Sombrero. Oh,
E-R-O.
just E-R-O. Thank you.
E-R-O. Yeah.
You are correct.
Fred Undead spelled it right too. I was too panicked to look. I just want to go on the record to say I apologize directly to Fred and Dad. Anytime I have to do something that involves spelling, it drives her crazy. And I'm sorry that my brain works the way that it does, but this them's the breaks. South Seas garb worn by Dorothy L'Amour on the road. Like a sari, probably. Because what's his name? Kerouac was all about like Indian philosophy and Hinduism and stuff.
I hated On the Road when I read it. I hated it.
A sari is S-A, maybe?
Mm-hmm. S-A-R-I.
Thank you. I was really into On the Road the first time I read it.
Sorry.
No.
I just didn't like any of the characters. That's why.
Yeah, I was super in that book because I was a pretentious snob. I thought it was really cool. A sarong.
Sarong, yeah, there we go. I mean, we could be forgiven for that.
Yeah. Can we? Himself
Maybe
blind, he modified a military secret code to invent writing for the blind. Braille.
2 L's and an E.
Thanks. B-R-A, Braille, L-L.
I-L-L-E.
Wait, I got it wrong. B-R-I.
B-R-A. B-R-A. I-L-L-E.
Thank you. That looks right. Thank you. Now I'm not even trying though because I got you.
You are correct.
I'm here to help. I'm your spell check, and I really like the fact
Fred's
that I'm able to
everything
do
in the
that.
chat too, and I'm sure that she
I know.
is getting ready to bust down the door and shoot me or something. World of Fashion for 6. Where on his body an Arab would wear the traditional. That's a knife.
No.
Wait. Head. I got confused.
It could be head or could be neck, I suppose. But yeah, probably head given the era that this game was released.
Yeah. I was thinking of that curved knife. Sorry. Inventions for 6. Willis Carrier's 1902 invention.
Everybody knows Willis Carrier, Jeremy.
Like what's
so
named
obvious?
Like a carrier pigeon? People don't invent pigeons.
That's not an invention.
I invented a dumb bird that poops all over statues.
Sorry.
I'm sure everybody knew this in 1996.
1992.
Sorry, yeah, 2.
Right? Yeah, 92.
You know the correct response.
An air conditioner. What a great invention. Thanks, whatever your name was. I forgot already. We're just going to kind of like teeter-toddle our way down to the end here. About 7 yards long. It's the loose body wrap worn around him. That's a sari.
Mm-hmm. I think so. And if not, very sorry.
Yeah, I apologize for not understanding other people's cultures, but I'm pretty sure I got it right. Yeah. Inventions for 8. Not surprisingly, he invented the disposable blade safety razor. Like Gillette? Bic?
It's gotta be, yeah. King Gillette.
King?
You are correct.
Wow,
I didn't know that.
What a audacious thing to name your kid King. Though his name is also associated with blades, he invented the electric shaver.
Schick. I don't know. It can't be Gillette again. I was right.
Good job. Good thinking, Oldmin. The sash worn with a Japanese kimono. I don't know what that's called.
I don't either.
That's deep knowledge. Fred Undead might know, but I don't know if she's gonna get it in time.
Sorry.
Might be funny if I got the sorry question wrong and Alex goes, sorry. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Thanks for telling me the secret. An Obi. Fascinating. All right, it's time for for Final Jep, everybody. Are we ready? Category is Sport of Kings. Oh boy.
What does that mean?
Well, Harold died. And I'm weighing the. Oh, I didn't get a chance to bet.
Is it gonna let you?
I'm gonna. I don't want to risk losing it. I'm gonna bet only 1,000. So even if I get it wrong and what's her name gets it right and bet everything, I still win probably. I'm also not good at math. In 1919-1920, this 4-leg battleship won 20 of 21 starts.
So the Sport of Kings must be horse racing, yeah.
1919.
And I have no idea.
Battleship. Seabiscuit? That doesn't seem like a. What are all the famous horses that won shit? I don't keep up.
Like Seabiscuit is the only one anyone knows, so that that kind of.
How is that a battleship?
Sense.
That does seem right. I'm gonna put it in.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, but. And I'm also not going to give you any spelling.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't going to get it right anyways. Man of War.
Man of War. I guess I've heard of that before.
I didn't know
maybe.
There was a horse named Man of War. We still won, though.
Yeah. Common knowledge in 1992 still, though.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago in 92, right? That was still current events. Man of War was probably still alive. All right, that was so much fun. I always have a good time playing Jeopardy. Let me get out of this. Okay, let's just turn it off. And let's get back into this view. All right, that was so much fun. Let's do the last question, at least I have prepared. Oh my gosh, also, it's 10:40.
Time flies.
Yeah, it certainly does. Let's do this one. This is a longer question, but I saw this one, I feel like it's been months ago now, and I grabbed it because I think that it, not only is it an interesting conversation to have, but also it has like a fun little like pop culture riddle that both myself and Oldman got immediately, and we'll see if you can get it at home too.
And if I remember this one right, I sent it to you.
Yeah, but I had read it like moments before you sent it to me.
Yeah.
And we
both of us are like addicted to these advice columns now, because since we've been doing this show, both of us have actually been like advice column addicts online for a good reason, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I was the reason I wanted to start doing an advice show is because I was an advice column online addict to begin with, and I was like, I need to find something to do with all of this. Anyways, okay. There's big parts of this that just bum me out, but anyways, my wife and I are new grandparents. The parents are in their late 30s, and this baby probably being their first and only. The name of the baby is concerning and upsetting to me and my wife. To protect our children, I will describe the name, not provide the actual name selected. The first name is a mixture of each parent's maternal grandmother, which we do not care for, which we, the grandparents, do not care for. But we have bigger concerns for the child on account of the middle and last name. The middle name is the name of a monster demigod, which was a character in a film released in 2021. The movie was part of a popular comedy action-themed movie franchise, which began in 1984. So let's take a little pause. I'm going to finish reading the question in a minute. But to me, this is the hook to this question. Is I'll repeat that again.
It's almost like a Jeopardy question.
It is. Let's see if anyone in the chat can guess what this child's middle name is. I got it almost immediately, and I suspect that Oldmin did as well. If I remember.
Can we repeat it? The clue here.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking a pause. I want to finish the question because I also want to talk about this. But also I want to see if anyone else can guess. So let's go back again. The child's middle name is the name of a monster demigod, which was a character in a film released in 2021. The movie was part of a popular comedy action-themed movie franchise, which began in 1984. Let me know if anybody else needs me to repeat that again. To me, I immediately know what this is. And I think that the parents that gave their kid this as a middle name are super rad, but that's not my business. Okay. The last name of the baby is a 10-letter combination of our daughter and son-in-law's surnames, which my guess to them represents their union with the child. This combined name is difficult to pronounce and spell, whereas each parent's name is short and easily understood. Neither my daughter nor the son-in-law are changing their given surname, so this family unit will have 3 last names. I totally understand that it is the right of the parents to name their child, and as grandparents, we must both respect and stay out of their decisions. You definitely don't understand that because you're writing this letter. Nonetheless, I do not understand how a parent can select as a middle name for their child a monster demigod, because my son-in-law liked the movie. How does one explain to a child that his name was derived from a monster in a movie? ? Regarding the last name, if the new combined parent's name is given to the child, it seems to me that the parent should change their last names as well. Most upsetting is that both the middle and last names will leave the child open to ridicule. We have not indicated our concerns to this to the parents as of yet.
Sure you haven't.
Sure you haven't. Yeah, I'm sure you have not. You're just so upset about all of this. I mean, my take on this is they say I totally understand it's the right of the parents to name their child, and as the grandparents, you have to respect that. If you actually understood that, you wouldn't be writing the letter. There are lots of people who have 3 last names. The one parent has one last name, the other parent has another last name, and then the child has a new last name. My family's like that. I have a last name. My partner, Fred Undead, has her own last name, and then our kid has both of our names hyphenated together. That's different, but not totally different than what they're describing here. That is not an uncommon thing culturally all over the world. The idea that the people get married, if they're heteros, then the woman changes her last name, and then the children that they have the name of the father, is not a globally expected thing to happen. Lots of people don't do that in America, but also everywhere else. The thing about like leaving the child open to ridicule, if people are going to make fun of, if kids want to make fun of a kid, it doesn't matter what their name is, they'll find a way to make fun of a kid. I don't know anybody that ever got made fun of because of their last name. I'm sorry, because of their middle name. Most people don't talk about their middle names. Middle names are kind of silly anyways.
Right.
So the big question I have is if anyone in the chat's figured out what the kid's middle name is. Because it is so, they say we're not going to say because we want to spare the parents. But it is so obvious if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, what this kid's middle name is so clear. Fred Enda says it's waspy as hell to expect people to have the same last name for the family. Yeah, that's, I mean, you know, there's all kinds of people in the world, and your cultural expectations don't have to be the cultural expectations of everybody else. It is not uncommon, and it is certainly not a disaster when it happens, that parents have 2 different last names and then their kid has some kind of conglomeration of both of those. That's actually quite standard in you know the modern world, in America and elsewhere.
Right, and even if it weren't, people are, just because somebody has a strange name or if they're picking the name to be specifically against their culture, that's not a bad thing necessarily. And my knowledge of kids is fairly limited, but like you said, Jeremy, they're going to find something. If they want to make fun of the kid, they're going to find something anyway. And
Yeah.
kids kind of find novel things cool oftentimes.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it necessarily, the concern that it opens them to bullying is, I mean, it's not valid. It's not a valid concern.
Yeah. None of this is a valid concern. It also grosses me out a bit that they start by saying, my wife and I are new grandparents.
New grandparents.
The
parents.
Yeah. That's gross. I don't like the part of any of that at all. The best way for them to deal with this is to not do anything about it and just try to find the part of themselves that unequivocally loves their daughter, I think, and is excited to have a grandchild, and they should just lean in to that and try to be a little bit less judgmental.
Yes.
But is anybody gonna guess in the chat what this kid's middle name so clearly is? Do I need to read the description? It's a monster demigod that was in a movie in 2021. That is the movie that came out in 2021 is part of a popular comedy action franchise that began in 1984. Comedy action franchise from 1984 had an additional part of that franchise come out in 2021, both of which films feature a monster demigod. Anyways, I don't know. I'll give people.
Can I do the reveal here? Because I have this mental image in my head.
Yeah, you
I have this mental image of my head.
Everybody, a couple more minutes.
Okay, all right, fair.
Jugsy doesn't know. This is just a really specific generational thing, but the original, like the 1984 movie and its sequel that came out just a few years later were massive deals when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. They were cultural phenomena even with the sequels. Both of them were in different ways.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think everyone was real excited when the franchise came back in 2021. And I saw the movie that came out in 2021 and wasn't too bad. And there's one that came out this year that I have not seen yet that I would like to also. That is all part of this franchise. Fred Undead is correct in the franchise. But Oldman, do you want to say what 100% absolutely with total certainty this kid's middle name is?
We discussed this before, and when you like, I had maybe two because I wasn't as familiar maybe as you are with the whole franchise. But just the idea of this tiny little kid on the playground going, "I am Zool," or something like that. Yeah. That's so effective.
Yeah. I think. That is correct, Fred Undead. This kid's name has to be 100% Zool. To be clear, it's not Gozer because Gozer isn't a demigod. Gozer is a god. Zool is a demigod. Zool is a minion of Gozer, if you want to be technical. And it's definitely 100% Zool. And I feel like anybody within at least my age group would have read this. And maybe not anyone, but an awful lot of people in my age group would have read this and known immediately that this kid's middle name is Zool. And I think that's amazing. Yeah, it'd be really cool, Fred and Dead, if they named their kid Vince Clozar. That's the Keymaster. What's his name? Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. Vince the Keymaster.
I do know that the goner thing that Freddie just said was a typo, but you know what? These grandparents are going to be goners if they continue to be so judgmental.
Yeah, Fred and Dad's got it. Vince Clothor is also a minion of
Vince Clothor.
Vince is the Keymaster, and Zool is the gatekeeper. And so Vince is...
Why doesn't the gatekeeper have the key?
That's really good. That feels like that's an essential part of being a gatekeeper is having
Yeah.
a key on hand. You're right. Anyways, if I met a person and they're like, yeah, my middle name's Zool, I would think that was pretty fucking cool, in my opinion.
And if it was a woman and I was, interested in her, that would be a huge thing. That would be like,
Fred
okay,
Undead's got a good point.
this
Maybe
is
their middle
serious
name
now.
is Vins.
Could it be? Like based on the clues we got?
It could be because Vin's Clothor and Zool are like equal. They're like that's Sigourney Weaver and oh my god, what's his name in the Ghostbusters movie?
Oh no.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids guy.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids guy.
Who's the nerdy guy in Ghostbusters that also turns into a dog with Sigourney Weaver. Rick Moranis.
Yeah, Rick Moranis. There we go.
Yeah. Anyways, maybe it's Vince. That's a really good point, Fred Undead. I was talking before about how the kid's middle name has to be Zool, and maybe it's not Zool. Maybe it's Vince.
I think it still probably is Zool because Vince or Vince is so common and not anything that anybody could object to rationally. Then again, these grandparents are not being rational. And so it's possible that maybe they're even upset that a normal name that was selected from Ghostbusters, a normal quote unquote name, was selected from Ghostbusters. I don't know. I think it's Zool. I think you're right about Zool, just because Vince might be too standard to warrant this reaction, but who knows?
Who knows? In my mind, it's got to be Zool.
It's not even the last name, Fred. It's the middle name, and they are freaking out about the last name too. But like, when I read this, like, it was so much the same reaction as Jeremy, which is they are being ridiculous and they need to back off.
Or just the fact that they're like, in the kid's first name, we don't like it. Like, you don't even have an opinion. Like, why? Who are you to even have an opinion about it? Like, leave them alone. Either I feel like you'd be doing your kids a favor just by not being grandparents. I don't like any part of this letter at all. Jugsy
there
says,
goes our Sconners.
My name should not require clarification, further explanation. Any name should not require. Right. I mean, I don't know. I feel like when someone introduces themselves, I mean, most of the time a person's not going to be like, what does that mean? Where is that from? How did you get that name?
If they're smart.
That's not a nice question to ask anybody. If there's a story behind it, and there often isn't, then they'll tell you. Fred says, like, the middle name being spelled Vins. I'm sorry. Fred Undead says, no, I mean, they're already freaking out about the last name. Like, the middle name being spelled Vins is something that sends them to. Yeah, they need to back off. This is exactly the type of grandparents that nobody with that just had a baby wants to have.
Yeah, I feel like this is a sign that they're going to find little things to worry or not even worry about, criticize for the parents raising their kid. If they're freaking out about, especially if it's Vince, but regardless of what it actually is, they're going to find little things to criticize these parents about and make them feel like they're not doing their job as parents. And it's a big red flag for them. And maybe you're right. Maybe these grandparents do need to be kept at a distance. I would say they do need to be kept at a distance. Yeah. I think that, just with all of the revealing information we know already.
The people that wrote this letter, I can imagine them in another year or two writing my favorite type of like parenting or like family advice column letter that I get, which is when an older person is writing in saying, my kid, I haven't talked to my daughter in 5 years, that they're estranged from me over some simple misunderstanding. They never say what that understanding is. And I miss them and I want to reconnect with them. And I don't know how, because it's all their fault, because of their ingrates, that I need to find a way to make them see that they've been cruel to me. And they're never like, I need to figure out what I did to make them react this way, because that's never the thing that crosses their mind.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's very smart that you and I really do try to stick to what is said in the letters, but also at the same time, sometimes there are letters like this one where the subtext and the situation that is going on that we can speculate upon, we can make some pretty accurate speculations.
Yeah. I don't think we're grasping at straws to read in between the lines here and say that the person. So it's a man writing this because I'm assuming it's a man. Maybe it's not. It says it starts by saying my wife and I. So I don't. Maybe they're not maybe they're not heteros. I don't know. But just that it seems like they aren't even questioning how much they should be manipulating and involving themselves in personal decisions that their kid is having. And that sucks. That bumps me out.
Right. I mean, let's say one positive thing is that they are concerned about their grandchild, which is not something that all grandparents are. But that is so outweighed by the micromanagement that's going on here.
Micro grandparenting. Stay in your lane is the advice I have for them. Okay, well, it's 11. That was a very fast 2 hours. But
I know. How nice.
Time flies when you're playing Jeopardy and you're killing it at Jeopardy like we were. Thanks, Oldmin. I missed you, buddy. This was nice to have you back on the show. We should do this again soon, and by soon I mean next week. I'll keep working on the tech involved in being able to stream from the basement. I'd love to give a tour of my tech setup in the basement right now because it's really pretty down there. I'm very proud of what I have put together.
Well, what I was thinking is maybe I'll just have a regular visit. We don't have to do a show for me to come and see you.
True.
And now that my car I have a different car and it's not going to explode at a random time on the way up to where you live. I would really like that. So let's chat about that a different time.
We should. Social get together. I'm not getting enough of those in my life these days. All right. Well, thanks, Oldmin, for joining us. Thanks as always to you, Oldmin. Thanks to Fred Undead for helping with Jeopardy so much. It was great to see you, Amir. It was great to see you, Jugsy. We will be back next week unless something horrible and unexpected happens, as occasionally is the case. But thanks again, everyone. This has been great. This is the advice stream. I'm your host, JeremyInternational. I was joined this evening by Oldmin, my friend and yours. You can always go to JeremyInternational.com if you'd like to submit questions for future episodes. There's also links there where you can leave a tip if you'd like to. No pressure, because no one ever has before. But thanks. That was our show, and we will see you next week. Bye, Oldmin.
Bye-bye.